Hey, Channel Surfers. I hope you guys are recovering from your Thanksgiving holiday. That's where D is today. On Remote Reality, it's just going to be Lauren, me, breaking it down, for analyzing everything like I do with this attorney mind of mine. Today, we've got Janelle living her best life in Vegas, Christine bowling, which I love, Meri making a girls' trip to Vegas to find some men, but not touch any eggplants, and Kody giving his best sorry, not sorry apology. Let's watch.
Remote reality, yeah, that's the key. Unlocking stories wild and free. With our hosts, side by side. Channel surfers, let's ride.
All right, Channel Surfers, how is your Cyber Monday going? Come on over to the Facebook group. Let me know. Are you dealing with crazy family? I'm not even kidding. We went to my in-laws house, and the family photo that we took last year, my in-laws have it printed out, hanging over the fireplace. I'm not joking. It is Photoshop. It doesn't even look like me and my husband. It is wild. We both have these hazel brown eyes. Apparently, they paid a lot of money for these photos. It doesn't even look like us. I was stunned. I sent it to my friends on a text. They were like, what the heck? Who photoshops family photos? Apparently, this mug isn't good enough to look at, but it made it worse. My husband's like missing an eyebrow and has a lump on his eye. Anyway, I digress. Dee is still recovering from a weekend with her grandkids and cooking, which is also very exhausting, just having family over. And speaking of exhausting and family, let's jump into Sister Wives, season 20, episode 10, extending an olive branch. Y'all, Kody is the brine in the olive jar. There's no branch. This is the most vinegary, sour, backhanded ass apology that I think I've ever seen. But really, what else would we expect from Kody? What I did not expect was party girls Janelle in New Orleans and Meri in Vegas living their best lives since they left Kody. What a 180. We went from Mormon undergarments in season 1 to wet t-shirt contest in season 20, which surprisingly, Meri was the one explaining to her friend that it's called a wet t-shirt contest. Her friend had it wrong, and she's like, no, it's not a white t-shirt contest, Amber. It is a wet t-shirt contest. Let me school you on that. Anyone else shocked that Meri was the one with the knowledge on the wet t-shirt? Now, speaking of t-shirts, we start off this scene with Janelle in New Orleans, continuing the party with her friends, Angela, Christina, and Alice. She's known Alice about 13 years. So Alice has been here throughout a lot of the show. And she's only known Angela and Christina for a couple of years, but we've seen them in a few episodes so far this season. Just like last week when the ladies were all wearing black shirts and cut up jeans and Janelle was in this flowery blouse. Today they are wearing black outfits to go out for their night look. And she has something on that's bright red, which I have to say, Lady in Red, Janelle looks stunning, but I feel like it's her 3 sidekicks. I'm sure Kody probably feels the same way. These friends are Janelle's wingmen. They're so supportive, and we already know how Kody felt about Jen, which, by the way, what happened to Jen? Do we need to do a wellness check on Jen? Jen, if you can hear me, are you okay? I'm worried about you. Kody said he didn't like you and now you're missing. And he had on those gloves at Coyote Pass. So let's get a wellness check on Jen. Janelle's girls want to know, how did you get into polygamy? So apparently Janelle went to the coolest parties when she was in high school. There was no drinking. They probably drank Kool-Aid, but the kind with sugar in it. The most hardcore thing they might have done is snort the Kool-Aid. Let's be honest. Nobody was having sex. But what they were doing was talking about their sister wife dreams. And this is where Janelle was introduced into polygamy. Then she met Kody and she started praying about it. And God was like, yes, ma'am, get you that hot man with the washboard abs. Okay, I don't want to put words in God's mouth. I'm sure he thinks that all of his creations are beautiful. I do not share that opinion. But Janelle saw that as a sign and she said, all right, this is the life I want. This is what I believe now. I believe in that dick. And she went for it. Now, her mom tried to save her. Mama Janelle went out to Wyoming with her and, well, ended up marrying Cody's dad 3 months before she married Kody, which she says was strange, but really, like, more strange than the fact that you're marrying your ex-husband's sister's husband to share. I think Janelle really wanted to be in this polygamous lifestyle. Like, let's go all out. Incest. My mom's married to my husband's dad, and my husband's married to my ex-husband's sister. It's a family bush, y'all. It's a family bush. But Janelle is loving her freedom. She says she can just pick up and go to Hawaii or New Orleans if she wants. And then she's like, well, okay, no. You know that Janelle didn't just pick up and go to New Orleans. We aren't putting out missing person posters for Janelle. She definitely had some planning in this, which she admits to. It reminds me of when Harry met Sally, when Sally is talking about leaving her ex because he didn't have the same family values as her. And she said, look, I'm fine. But she said, we used to be able to take off to Rome at a moment's notice, and we never did that. Which, interestingly, this is the point where Janelle's going, I'm fine. Kody and I don't have the same family values, and I can take off to New Orleans or Hawaii at a moment's notice. So the way she said it, and then also the significance of this part of her and Cody's relationship, I thought was very interesting, especially since I'm a huge When Harry Met Sally fan. Meri is taking Amber, her new roommate, on a surprise trip to Vegas to go find some men, although they aren't going to touch any eggplants. No, that is a word eater. We're not touching the eggplants, okay? No, but we are going to do a wet t-shirt contest. Yes, wet t-shirt contest. Amber tries to correct Meri and says it's a white t-shirt contest. Amber, your mama did not let you watch MTV. This definitely is a wet t-shirt contest. Yes, you want it to be white because then you can see a lot more of the tatas once it gets wet, but it's not a white t-shirt contest. We're having a white t-shirt contest. In this scene, Meri is wearing a white t-shirt. So that's the party you want? No. You gotta add the water. The fact that Meri knew this and corrected Amber was surprising. Now, Amber is my age. So Meri's generation, she would have been the kids at spring break, whereas Amber and I would have been the kids sitting in our parents' bedroom watching MTV and LL Cool J during spring break because we were old enough to go. And if there was a wet t-shirt contest, there would have been nothing to see. Maybe that's why there's some confusion here. I definitely knew what it was, though. Now, this dating event, it's not speed dating. It sounds like it's some sort of digital match. Maybe they did like eHarmony forms or something, and then they're going to meet in person. And it's called Vegas Girls, which I have to agree with Amber here. Are they going to be stripping? Meri's like, well, do you want to? Meri doesn't shoot the idea down. Meri is open to this. She's like, yeah, you think somebody wants it? Let's do it. And Amber says, well, no, but they make a lot of money, which takes me back to last couple of weeks with 90 Day Fiancé and Patia and Dylan. And Dee writing down that Patia went on a stripper spree because she was spending $15,000 to $20,000. It's still, that's so much money. It just blows my mind. That is good money. As an attorney, I've never been on a $20,000 shopping spree, but I'm not hot enough to make it as Vegas stripper. Like I said in that episode, they would pay me to put my clothes back on, which I have a feeling would be the same thing for Meri and Amber. So give it a shot. They can make money putting their clothes back on. Hey, scrap up a little cash, go buy some artwork so that Robyn and Kody can see you buying it on TV and probably be pretty jealous that you actually have better taste in art. Now, Meri says she doesn't want butterflies. She doesn't want to have a feeling. She talks about when she was in a relationship with Kody, how the butterflies would come when he would finally show up unexpectedly. So she describes this roller coaster, like downhill, downhill, downhill. And then she'd get butterflies when she'd get a little bit of momentum back, when Kody would randomly appear. It wasn't a good feeling. She would rather have calm. And she says boring, but she means stable. Those highs and lows, those extremes, it's exhausting. And I totally get what she says by saying that she wants stability. But when you first meet somebody, you might want those butterflies. Like, that stability comes with time. the first few months, I think she'd want to be excited about the guy. You can see, though, how much her relationship is still weighing on her. She's still working through these things after 30 years of marriage, which she said she was constantly guessing whether or not she was being lied to by Kody. She says she was lied to, but the guess was whether or not what she was being told in the moment was a lie. Just horrible and exhausting. And good for her for even jumping back into the game. But just like Janelle, Meri is living her best life. She's laughing a lot. I'm not always sure at what. At least Amber finds her funny. Amber's laughing too. And the way she laughs, she sounds like she is coughing up phlegm. Like that girl just had some Mucinex, drank whole thing of water. She's getting over that cold, y'all. She like hacks up when she laughs. It is kind of like a witch's laugh, but a nice witch. I would say she's like Glenda, a good fairy. Now, Christine's best life is probably most my style. She is going bowling with David, Truly, and Isabel. I love bowling. I took bowling in college, and we were able to leave class as soon as we are done doing our 3 sets. So my 3 friends and I, we are a team of 4. We figured out a little secret called speed bowling. If you bowl all strikes, you get the game done in half the time, and you have time to go next door to the bar and have some cocktails. So we made an A in bowling, and we were the top team on the class because we were like, speed bowling. We're going to go in there and do some speed bowling. Everybody in Christine's family has an interesting style. Christine just does the straight bowl, just throwing the ball straight at the pins. She knocks down like 7 of them. David, he does the granny bowl where you hold it and go between your legs and roll the ball down. He knocks down like 8 pens, which is pretty good. Truly, she gives no fucks. She just throws it at the gutter, watches it crash, turns around, and then goes and starts slapping David, like having a slap war with David. They're like siblings almost. Christine's like, these two are too much. And then Isabel, she goes to bowl, and her wrist curves a little bit when she goes to bowl. She's doing like a straight bowl. And David, he just makes a suggestion. It's not pushy or anything. He's just like, oh, yeah, just like try to turn your wrist the other way a little bit, which he could have told her how to do a curveball, a hook, where you throw the ball like toward the right of the lane and make it curve. It's supposed to make it easier for strikes, but I always end up getting gutter balls on that. But she ends up picking up the spares. So David gave some great advice. And actually, it was paternal, like gently paternal. I feel like Isabel, she's got a Kody-sized hole in her heart, like most of the brown kids. And she wants that to be filled. At first, she says, I have a dad, so I don't need it filled. Then she says, I have a mom who is like my mom and my dad. Then there's David. David's not my dad. My mom fills both roles. It's like she doesn't want to give Kody any fuel to blame his rejection, the way he's rejecting her. For example, if she thought of David as a fatherly figure, Kody might take that and run and say, well, see, that's why I'm not spending time with you. It's all BS. It's all going to be excuses. The guy will look for anything to blame anyone other than himself. But I think that's the fear, is closing out that relationship with Kody, giving him any reason to blame her. She also has seen, as far as Robyn's kids, what it's like for your mom to marry a guy who just completely takes over the role of dad and blocks your dad out. Kody did that with David Presley, with Robyn's ex-husband. He went and got paper, legal documents. He married Robyn so that if something happened, he would have the children. And remember, Dayton was really struggling with that when it happened. Isabel has seen the pain of that, and she's very appreciative that David isn't putting that pressure on her. But you still see him mentoring her, caring about her. He cares about her. He cares about Truly and Truly's feelings. He even says that one of his favorite things to do is say something sarcastic, and it just pulls Truly out of a bad mood. So I mean, this is what a father is. It's somebody who cares about you and your best interest and wants to mentor you and guide you. And David will be that person for her, no matter what she wants to call it, whatever makes her comfortable. So I love David, and he's so funny. She goes up to bowl Isabel, and he screams, "Your shoe's untied." He's just such a prankster. He runs at one of those dinosaur kids bowling things to like throw the ball, and then it goes in the gutter. He's doing whatever he can to make them smile. But this part is pretty sad because we learned Kody doesn't have a relationship with Isabel. She hasn't talked to him in a really long time. I'm just glad that, like Christine says, they're getting this example of a healthy couple. And even though they're going through a lot, we know that David's going to try to keep a smile on their face. Kody and Robyn are back at Atria Modern Restaurant in like the exact same seat, wearing a different color blazer, different color red shirt, and different color button-down shirt. This is where they went in that episode where they were going to take dance lessons, and they were talking about how they didn't get any sleep the night before, and it just got kind of gross. And we looked up the menu, and like the cheapest entree was a vegetarian entree for $30. These people are spending some money. Now, Kody tells Robyn, "I have something special to talk to you about." Not as exciting as the dance lessons, though. He tells Robyn that after the sale of Coyote Pass, he felt shame. And that the only thing he can control is his behavior. And maybe if he acted differently, the situation would have turned out differently, which starts to sound like a pretty good self-reflection. Is Kody seeing that he's part of the problem and maybe ready to heal these relationships? And then Kody says, "Well, you know how you talked to me about therapy?" Now, actually, you went to Robyn and you're like, "Do you think therapy would be a good idea?" And she said, "Yes." But you know how you approached me about therapy? I had a better idea. Instead, I got on my phone, I dialed Jesus. We had a little talk, and he came up with the best idea. I need to apologize to my exes. And Robyn, she's got this look on her face. She looks like she is in shock. Like, apologize? First of all, Kody sees himself as a victim. Robyn sees herself as a victim. And Robyn and Kody both see each other as victims. So in her mind, she's probably trying to figure out what on earth Kody would need to apologize for. And Kody explains he had a lot of anger. And Robyn's like, "Oh no, you don't need to apologize for being angry because you were abandoned, because they left you. It's okay to have those feelings. That's not your fault, Kody." And then Kody says, "Well, I want to do it so they stop thinking about me. They stop talking about me. They basically leave me alone." Kody, they are leaving you alone. They have cut all the ties. They have moved out of state. They didn't even say anything to you at Coyote Pass. I can promise you they're not thinking about you. I feel like Kody needs to dig his claws in. Location-wise, the wives are gone. The kids don't talk to him, so they don't share that connection anymore. And the land, that was like the final thing tying him to them, and now that's gone. So now he has no relevance in their lives. They're not thinking about him. They're not talking about him, but he can't let them forget. Anyway, you look at it, this apology is for Kody, not for the wives. God should have told him, ignore them, block them, leave them alone, reach out to your kids and heal that relationship. But in this moment, Kody is going to Robyn saying, "Is this dumb to apologize?" And really rubbing in the fact that his exes made him feel manipulated and unsafe. And all he's doing is trying to make people happy. In what world is Kody Brown doing anything to try to make anybody except himself happy? This is trying to get some sort of reaction out of them so that he knows he still has a hold on him. It's saying "I'm sorry" to get them to stop, in his mind, talking about him negatively. Because again, it's not his actions that are at fault. It's not the fact that he doesn't reach out to his children. It's their fault. Because in his mind, without any sort of corroborated evidence, the wives are talking smack about him. Basically, this is an apology to make him feel better and to put him in a better place, potentially with the viewing audience. Maybe with the wives, so they don't talk about him. It's a selfish apology. It's not a real apology. We cut to Janelle's last night in the Big Easy, New Orleans. She says that they're at like Mardi Gras. This is not Mardi Gras, y'all. There are no people on these streets. This is very empty streets for New Orleans. But they do have guys that are flashing them and they're throwing beads at them. Alice asked Janelle if she would ever go to therapy with Robyn and Kody, and I love her answer. She's like, no, they aren't. No. Why would I do? I don't like those people. Why the hell would I do that? Yeah, Alice, why the hell would she do that? Now, Alice says if she had sister wives, she would see them as her best friends. Walk a mile in Janelle's shoes. Robyn's your sister wife. Tell me if you're still her best friend. Angela says, I'd be jealous. I'm Latina. I'm already jealous. But Janelle says that because it was part of her religion, she felt spiritually called to the polygamy, and now she doesn't feel that way anymore. Maybe her faith is right. Maybe it's wrong. But what's important is that she does not spend eternity with Kody. So just in case her beliefs in the AUB were the right beliefs, she's going to get that spiritual release because she's not risking it anymore. She is not, under any circumstances, spending eternity with Kody and Robyn. She'd probably rather go to hell. Let's be honest. It would be like her own little version of it. And she explains that the spiritual release, it's like getting a divorce under God's law. So it's not a legal marriage. Remember, they had spiritual marriages. Kody could only have one legal marriage because polygamy is not recognized in any of the 50 states. It actually can be criminal in some states, bigamy. But this kind of reminded me when I was in law school and I took Sharia law. In some countries where they might have secular laws, so their law is not based on religion, Muslims may personally choose to also abide by Sharia law as the law of their religion, the law that's governed by their religion. And I guess it's the same thing, in Christianity, marriage is a covenant with God. I know I grew up Catholic and you can get divorced, but in the church, you have to get it annulled. Otherwise, you're still married in God's eyes. So I thought it was interesting, of course, that she was explaining the difference between the legal and the spiritual marriages. Speaking of legal, they're walking outside on Bourbon Street and Janelle goes, oh, there's a barely legal club. Tina goes, kind of like polygamy, barely legal. Christina's hilarious. That girl's so funny. She used to hang out with Meri and give her some tips. And they're saying, we're getting Janelle out of her shell. Janelle's in the wild New Orleans. Which, even in her 50s, Janelle explains, I had a very conservative upbringing, no premarital sex. This wild Kool-Aid parties in high school was about as crazy as I got. I still have a lot in this world to experience. And she's excited to get to know that part of herself. So Meri living her best life. Christine living her best life. Janelle living her best life. Kody and Robyn, womp womp. Meri and Amber are getting ready for the Vegas mixer, and they open a bottle of wine, and they think it's hilarious. They're just laughing so hard. Oh my God, we opened a bottle of wine. This is so funny. I had to ask, are they already drinking? Is this your first bottle of wine? Yay or nay? As we continue to watch, we see that they're nervous and they do keep drinking wine. So maybe this isn't the first bottle we're seeing them pop open at the start scene. Maybe they're a couple of bottles in. I just didn't think the wine popping was that funny. Janelle and her friends are funny. Christine and David are funny. I was not getting those vibes from Meri and the bottle of wine. But I mean, maybe if I joined in a few drinks myself, I might be there. And they're speaking my language. Charcuterie and Prosecco. Damn, what time is it? 2:30? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. You might have to have a little sippy sip after this podcast. Don't you guys love some Prosecco? I think this is very healthy. Meri says she doesn't feel like she's incomplete without a partner, that the partner will just add to the amazingness that she already is. Such a healthy way to look at things. You need to be a complete person before you get into a relationship. I just wonder if she knows who she is and what she wants. She was married so young. Just some of the things she says makes me think she's still on a journey of self-discovery. So I hope she is getting a solid sense of self and she wouldn't just be swayed by what a partner wants. Now, there's certain names that Meri is going to pass on if it comes up in the speed dating. Kody, I mean, you really blame her? I'm sure there's a lot of people who would be traumatized by the name Kody after watching this and seeing her ex-husband. The other name is David because Christine married a David. Okay, that's strange. You were married to the same guy as Christine. You were both married to a Kody, which was the same Kody. So why is it weird now that you're not married to the same guy? Why would it be weird to marry somebody with the name David? I don't know. That wouldn't be weird for me, but I mean, I know people that have married people that have the same name as their sibling. That would be a little strange. I have some friends that are twins, and one is married to a Daniel, and the other one has dated and been engaged to Daniels. I think that's kind of cool, though. Yeah, I don't get the weirdness there. The Kody, I get it. The David, what's the big deal? Channel surfers, let me know. Who cares? Amber says, well, what if you're getting along with this dude and you find out he's polygamous? And Meri wants to know if she means like he has wives already. Why does that matter? Like, regardless of whether he has wives, if he's polygamous and you know that's not what you want, maybe you stay out of that lane. You just go to a different line, one that has what you want in it. So I don't know why she would ask. You mean he already has a wife? Does she think she's going to convince somebody not to get a spouse? I mean, she was the first wife the first time. It didn't work out too great. Meri started talking about what Meri is looking for. And this makes me think she's looking for an Amber or a Jen. She's not looking for a feeling. She's not looking for butterflies. She's looking for a friend that she's physically attracted to who will cheer her on in all of her endeavors. So she wants a cheerleader friend. And she's not touching eggplant on this trip. And she told Amber to send her what t-shirt tech. And she's so happy that she went with Amber. Maybe that's her soulmate. But just a piece of advice. You might not want somebody who just blindly supports and cheers you on in all of your endeavors. That's what we call a Robyn. Robyn who either cheers on Kody or sits there and looks at him like he's got two heads. I guess the only thing that would be different between what Meri wants and Robyn is she said somebody that's grounded and has good communication. And even though Robyn can speak Kody, I don't know that she's really picking up what Meri's putting down. Speaking of Kody's number one cheerleader, we go back to Robyn and Kody at their restaurant. And she says she doesn't really want to weigh in or influence Kody too much in his big idea to apologize. She tells him it's okay for him to apologize if he did things to hurt his exes. So that's the input she gives. And Kody says, I want to apologize, but not for the things that I'm accused of. I want to apologize for the things that I know I've done. What kind of apology is this? Sometimes you just, if you're looking to make the peace, sometimes you just need to say, I'm sorry. I'm about to sound like Dr. Phil. You can either be right or you can be happy. And I feel like Kody chooses right. If he is giving the apology to heal these relationships so that they stop talking smack about him, maybe it's best to just say you're sorry and shut your mouth. I don't know. Robyn's not going to give that kind of input, but that would be my thought. What he wants to apologize for is saying that he never loved his exes, which all of a sudden Robyn finds a way to make this about her, about how this was such a big deal for her because she remembers plural families in her church growing up where one wife was left out and was sharing her husband and sharing her resources, but she wasn't being taken care of. Okay. So Robyn's the victim because people in her church had this experience. This is so broad and detached from her, but she literally starts crying during this moment, or fake crying. There are no tears. And she's like, when you said you didn't love them, I was like, what the hell? She's trying to be a girl's girl here, but she is not a girl's girl. This is so fake and made up, and it makes no sense that she's crying over people in her church, very broad people, not like my best friend's mom, but very broad people, and she saw this hurt from them. She's not even crying over the hurt from Meri. She's crying because she's known other people way distantly attached to her were hurt over similar things. And the fact that he said, I don't love them is what hurt. Not that he neglected them, not that he took their resources and ignored them, but the point where she drew the line was him saying he never loved him because that felt like he tricked her. The reason she fell in love with him is because he loved his wives. She's a good polygamous gal, and she's the victim here. Kody tricked her. And if your BS detector is going off right now, it should be, because Everything coming out of Kody and Robyn's mouths at this point is a load of shit. Robyn, so happy that Kody's going to apologize, has the lowest enthusiasm. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad he is apologizing. There is no excitement over this, not in her face, not in her tone when she's talking about it later in the ITMs. Kody gets super dramatic. He's like, I took a knife and I was swinging it around and I ended up cutting myself. What is with this violent rhetoric? Why is he swinging a knife around? This goes back to knife in the kidney. Why are we trusting this man with a knife at this point? Honestly, Robyn, do not trust him with anything sharper than a banana. This man does not need to be yielding a knife. And this is where he says he wants to be more benevolent. He's kind of, well, you don't want to say he's an asshole. He has asshole potential. What? Asshole potential? So like you're rimming the asshole? You're not quite an asshole yet? Kody, go on Reddit. Make a post. Let's see what they think. Are you? Are you the asshole? And even though Kody really should just leave his ex-wives alone, let them live their lives without him in it, Robyn says, oh, I understand you wanting to have peace. This could be so beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Which Kody knows it could also be really, really bad. He says not only might they not accept my apology, but they might completely reject it. Which, timeout. What did you say? They might not accept it. They might actually completely reject it. That's the same thing, Kody. So yeah, worst case scenario, they could reject it, but no. Not with construction man Kody. No, he's going to strap on his hard hat and he's going to be a bulldozer. He's not going to just roll him over. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that regardless of whatever serious pushback they may give him, he will get this apology through. He's not going to let them sidetrack him from getting out he's sorry. Again, this apology is not for his ex-wives. This apology is for Kody. He is going to force them to hear it, even if they're like, get the fuck out of my face. He wants to get this off his chest, regardless of whether or not they want to hear it. This is for his peace. So he's not going to let them sidetrack him. He's going to bulldoze through it and get it out. Again, not for them. This is for Kody. So back in North Carolina, Janelle finally home, and she tells Madison that, hey, your dad wants to meet me out for dinner in Raleigh. Madison hits this right spot on. She says it sounds like an emotional, he's not in your life anymore, so he wants to put himself in your life kind of thing. Ding, ding, ding. He needs a reaction, regardless of whether it's a good or bad reaction. He needs to know that he still has his claws in, that he still matters. He needs to know that they are thinking about him. That's the irony. He says, I want to make sure they're not thinking about me and not talking about me. No, he wants to make sure they are thinking about him and talking about him, that they know that he's still important. And Janelle, starting with her apology, if you want to know you're important or you want to tell somebody not to think about you, this is not the place you start. Janelle probably didn't even know who was calling when you rang. She's probably deleted that phone number. Your contact information's gone. After New Orleans, she might not remember your name by the time you make it to dinner. Kody did call Janelle on Garrison's birthday and Garrison's death day, which in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, and he didn't even know that Maddie was about to have a baby then. He had no idea what was going on in his other children's lives. Because as Maddie says, he's not reaching out. And she could forgive him, but in order for him to be a part of her life and her family's life, he's going to need to make a consistent effort. And she and Janelle both know that's not likely. He's coming in for an apology after a few years when he wants to make sure he's relevant. He'll pop in for something else. But a consistent effort, look, couldn't do it in Flagstaff. There's no way he's doing this coast to coast. But Maddie, she's pretty funny. She goes, maybe he does want to extend an olive branch. Oh gosh, he's calling you. Maybe he wants to walk you down the aisle at your next wedding. It's what he told Meri. Also, this would have been before that episode aired. So I wonder if Meri and Janelle were talking about that at Coyote Pass and just like talking smack about Kody. I want to know what else they're spilling. And as hard as this apology seems to be for Kody, where he will not apologize for things he was accused of that he didn't do, getting back in the dating scene is really hard for Meri. She and Amber are talking about how a guy might look good on paper, but then he doesn't have the emotional maturity. Well, you know what? You're not going to process everything out the first time you meet somebody. This is why you date. You need to get to know them. Meri says she's still talking to Ron, which from the first dating thing, which I don't really believe. I think Ron was a paid actor who came in, and if anything, she's just telling them, oh, we're still filming, so it's not going to be on yet. I don't know. But Amber, she says she gets attached really fast. She has learned from her divorce that she was actually an anxious attachment style, and that's something that she's had to work on. Meri says that she also needs to work on things. She also gets easily attached. And one of the things that Meri realizes she needs to work on is she trusts too easily. She likes to believe what people say, but she's been lied to so many times. And at first she stumbles over it, but then she's like, no, I was lied to. Straight up. No joke. Cody lied to me on and off for 30 years. I had to guess whether or not he was lying. Even though her instinct is to believe somebody, she's learning how to fight against that instinct. That's one of the things that she's trying to heal from her last relationship as she moves forward in the dating scene. It takes work, and she's putting the work in, which is awesome. Meri wants a man who finds that it's a privilege to be in her space and that treats her well. Although the way she says it is that she is worthy. He thinks she's worthy of being treated well. Look, a good guy is going to treat people well or not treat people well. It's not like you're a convicted murderer or something. You're a human being. You need to feel like you're worthy, Meri, of being treated well. And if you're not, then you're going to know to get the hell out of there. But you need to be a guy with a guy that treats people well. Not somebody who bashes your friends, like hates just Jen. Meri's biggest problem in her separation with Kody, she says, is that he didn't communicate the separation with her, which I was screaming, Meri, like he was sending you smoke signals. He was doing Morse code. He told you things wouldn't work out. Like, he basically did everything up to putting you in a casket, but you wanted him to put the nail in the coffin. He doesn't need to communicate with you when it's over. Once that dude started treating you bad, that's when it was over with Kody. That's when Meri should have decided it's over with Kody. Bye, Felicia. I will see you never. Well, until you call me and want dinner and to apologize for, I'm sorry, don't talk about me. I don't even know how it's going to go. And this part is so sad. Meri and Amber raise a glass to men that are okay with them having some self-respect. Who are they turning down? The person that you're with should absolutely support and nurture you having self-respect. It's not that they should be okay with it. There's no reason they shouldn't be okay with it. If you're going after guys who aren't okay with women having self-respect, that's the wrong guy. It's the wrong one. 100%. A guy who is not okay with women having solid self-respect, there's no circumstance to be with that guy. That person has work to do. Bathroom mirrors and laughing her ass off. Is her face funny? I don't get it. She can't stop laughing. She feels confident. Again, I think it's maybe the wine talking, but she thinks her face is really funny after a few bottles of Prosecco, which I'm probably going to test that theory soon. But she also feels like she has imposter syndrome. Is she worthy? Is she good enough? Will she be chosen? Do people want to hear what she has to say? Does she have something valuable to offer? When she says this, I feel like she's still searching for herself. Like she's learning a lot about herself in this new stage of her life. But also it made me think of Worthy Up. Do I have something valuable to offer? Do people care what I have to say? She started this group and it had like maybe 30 subscribers. So maybe she was reflecting on that. Either way, they are toasted up. They are drunk. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them slurring their speech during the dating event. And they're ready to go meet them some men, but don't touch the eggplants. The next thing we know, Kody is in North Carolina. go home. I'm in South Carolina. This feels too close. Too close for my comfort. And he tells us he hasn't reached out to Christine or Meri yet because he's not soft enough for them yet, but he's on his way to meet Janelle. Christine and Meri hurt him too bad because before his divorce, he thought everyone liked him. Everyone before he was divorced. Like in the years leading up to his divorce. What is that term with narcissism? Grandiose sense of self? I'm not a psychologist. I'm an attorney. And in a non-psychological way, this sounds like a grandiose sense of self. I mean, shoot, not everybody likes me. That's okay. I'm not everybody's shot of whiskey or a cup of Prosecco. Shoot, some days I'm like, Lauren, what the hell? But what in the shitballs is this man thinking? That everybody liked him until he was divorced. He thought he was a superhero. This overinflated ego that Kody had. And he's saying, dear God, please help me so I can talk to my other wives. Please get him into therapy. Now, he said during the divorce, emotionally, he was in the place of a 12-year-old boy. I mean, to be fair, that's a lot of divorces to go through back to back to back. And he realizes in hindsight, he should have been saying, live your best life, instead of asking them why they're destroying his peace, which was he really at peace? He told Christine he didn't want to sleep with her. He told Meri he was done with her. And these are the two that he's got the most pain over leaving him. Did he think he was just going to string them along until they died and then he could get his kingdom? I mean, there's something not logically adding up here. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. It just feels like this victim word salad that we hear over and over again from Kody. Now, he says that there's less for him to forgive with Janelle, probably because she left after she was over him. She didn't make a big deal out of it. No drama. I mean, besides that one scene at Christmas where she told him he was going to keep his ass in the house, there hasn't been much tension. She made it as clean of a break as she could. But let's wait until he finds out that she's getting that spiritual release. Oh, how the tables will turn. And we leave the episode with Kody sitting by himself at a restaurant called La Montana in North Carolina, waiting to get on his righteous path with Janelle. So what are my hot takes from this episode? Well, even though Kody promised he wouldn't say Coyote Pass anymore, we hear that continue to come up. And that's almost symbolic as the death of this family. Kody, he's not going to let it die. He's going to do the bare minimum to make sure his exes are zombies. The women, they don't need his apology. They're moving on. They're transforming. If we look back at season 1, we see the women wearing garments. They're wearing long sleeves to cover their garments. And the garments they saw as symbols of control. They have broken out of that. They're in Vegas drinking Prosecco. They're in New Orleans getting flashed by dudes. They're bowling and goofing off. They're just having the time of their lives. Whereas Kody, he's not transforming. He's still stuck in the same place that he was when these women left him. He can't move forward. He's circling the drain as the women are moving on. And he doesn't know what to do with that. In his mind, it's all still relevant that they left him. In their minds, Kody who? So he's looking for a way back in. This apology, again, not a psychologist, but it feels like narcissism. It's the sorry, not sorry tour. He's saying it to make himself feel better. I'm sorry that you feel that way is not going to be an apology. It's gaslighting with a pretty bow on it. And the timing is suspicious. This apology is coming up after the women have cut the ties. The land has been sold. Relationships over. He's had no accountability for years on this show. For years. And now all of a sudden, once there's nothing tying him to his exes, he's spiritually awakened and God's telling him to go apologize. It's not giving genuine remorse. Is it just me, or does it look like Robyn is panicking over his apology? If Kody isn't at war with the original 3 anymore, then that destroys her narrative that they, the others, the original wives, destroyed the family. Because remember, they're the victims. Robyn and Kody are the victims in her world. So if Kody is going to apologize. It's changing her narrative and putting it at risk. And maybe this is what Kody meant by he wouldn't apologize for what he's been accused of, like the women saying that he's being manipulated by Robyn. But this shocked look, I mean, that's the most shocking thing. She has watched Kody through 10 years of ego spirals, through a full pandemic meltdown, playing the emotional neglect Olympics, call him Simone Biles and give him a gold medal, and going through a hair crisis. And this surprises you, girl. How are you shocked? Or is it just that shocking that all of a sudden Kody isn't in full victim mode and it sounds like he's tiptoeing around accountability? And we see Kody sitting at the table kind of rehearsing what he's going to say at the end. Again, he does not need to be doing this apology. He needs therapy. He needs a journal, a humble pie the size of Coyote Pass, maybe a little TED talk on accountability. Kody, what you need is not going to be at that restaurant. This apology is too little, too late, and too vague. We have heard him say he's going to take accountability, but for what? He's not acknowledging the favoritism. He's not acknowledging the neglect. He's not acknowledging the manipulation or the power imbalance. He's apologizing because things happened, not because he did anything. It's smoke and mirrors. Maybe that's what Meri was laughing at when she was looking in the mirrors in Vegas. Maybe she saw the smoke and mirrors from Kody. And Kody is the only one that wants these reconciliation conversations. Robyn's stressed out about him. The ex-wives are not impressed. We're watching it like, boy, bye. Get the heck out of here. He's basic. Now, Janelle, she had more chemistry with New Orleans than she ever had with Kody. She was happier. She was smiling more. She was just enjoying life. And finally, David Woolley is the real MVP here. He keeps us all smiling, especially Christine and her kids, who definitely deserve those smiles. He's gently parenting without taking over the role of dad, and he cares about what the kids need. Season 20, episode 10, Kody might be extending the olive branch. He stripped off all the leaves first and used it to poke everybody in the eye. So I don't know how kindly it's going to be recepted. So that's it, Channel Surfers, for this episode of Sister Wives. I will be back tomorrow with the 90 Day the other way. Hopefully, Dee will be joining us. My schedule's a little crazy, so I just have to see if my schedule lines up with Dee's tomorrow, but she will be back soon. And I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend. If you enjoyed the Sister Wives, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Let's ride.
Tune in, don't delay. Remote reality lights the way. See you next week, same time, same place. Channel Surfers, let's ride.
I almost forgot. Channel Surfers, I'm bringing this to you after the show. I wanted to show you this Reddit post. Okay. So this was 6 days ago. My brother and I were looking at doing an Am I the Asshole podcast, but then we had a few drinks and ended up taking a little nappy nap. Y'all, this is so sus. It is Golden Girls 79. Am I the asshole for wanting to apologize to my ex-wives even though they abandoned me? Okay, Reddit, I'm 56 male and honestly I'm at my wit's end and could use some outside perspective because everyone in my life either misunderstands me or is actively villainizing me. He spent 30 years building a beautiful plural family, sacrificed everything, and now all of a sudden he's the bad guy. Recently, 3, yes, count them, 1, 2, 3 of his ex-wives, ages 50, 45, 50, 54, and 51, decide to move on and live their best lives, which is confusing because he thought he was their best life. Y'all, so sus. They sold the family land without appreciating how deeply connected I was to it. I was spiritually bonded to that dirt. I think this is Kody. This sounds like Kody. I had a moment of reflection, not therapy, because I don't need that. And I decided maybe I should apologize to them. For context, I haven't seen some of my kids in years. Not my fault. The ex-wives say I played favorites. I didn't. Just some people are easier to love. Not my fault. They say I was angry and checked out. Again, not my fault. I was under a lot of pressure managing 3.5 marriages. I'm sorry, the half. What? They moved away physically, financially, and emotionally. And now they don't want to hear my apology. I'm finally ready to give them the healing and experience they apparently wanted, and they're acting like it's self-serving and too late. Can an apology be too late? Isn't this what God wants? I'm just trying to be the benevolent patriarch here. Too long didn't read. My wife said I should ask Reddit, am I the asshole for wanting to apologize, even though they don't seem to want to hear it? I feel like they are being unfair and rejecting my attempt at peace. And honestly, it's affecting my emotional health. Let's look at the comment. Okay. So we have the progressive commercial, the moderator just saying that this went to the popular forum. DGAF. LOL, buddy, I'm in New Orleans eating beignets and dancing with strangers who flashed me. I promise you with my whole heart, I do not care. You are not on my radar. If apologizing makes you feel better, go journal, talk to a cactus, same effect, less drama. 49,000 likes. Christine says, relax, says, you're the asshole. You're apologizing now because you suddenly have free time and no one to monologue it to. Therapy is calling. Pick up the phone. 1.8 thousand likes. And Robyn, not Robyn in real life, swear, not the asshole. Oh my gosh, everyone here is so mean to you. You are so brave for wanting to apologize. You're a good man, a strong man, a curly man. People don't understand the burden of having multiple wives who don't do exactly what you want all the time. Stay strong. What do you think, channel surfers? Is Golden Curl 79 the asshole? Not the asshole? Let us know what you think. See you tomorrow with 90 Day the Other Way.